My name's Tyson McMurrin. I am your presenter today, and today we're covering off e-commerce integration with SAP Business One. And I just want to step through a few slides to kind of talk about what we're seeing in the SAP Business One space right now, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can help you achieve a really good integration solution. So a few of the key ideas that I want you to take away today is that COVID-19 has certainly accelerated companies' shifts to a digital strategy, and the business models are really changing. We're seeing a lot of choke supply chain right now, customers wanting to order different ways, and companies out there right now are really looking for platforms that are affordable, dependable, flexible, and also repeatable. So you might have multiple different brands that you want to put out on different platforms, and you need the ability to integrate all these different platforms, microsites, all the different sales channels that you might be doing e-commerce on, back into SAP Business One, and you really want a kind of a single platform to do that. And that's ultimately what Bizweaver will allow you to do, is have that single platform that allows you to connect to whatever the platform, digital e-commerce platforms that you're using. The other thing that I do want to highlight is that Bizweaver is more than just an e-commerce tool, and you'll see a little bit of that when we get into the presentation today. So a little bit about Third Wave. For over 25 years, Third Wave Business Systems has been working with customers like you to get more out of your ERP system. As the original SAP Business One Gold partner in North America, we work hard to help you grow and thrive in a digital world. So our whole passion is around technology, and our focus is really around your success. So one of the big things that's important to note here is that we are not just a SAP Business One tool developer. We are an SAP Business One reseller as well. So we use the tools that we're showing you to help our customers that are both with other partners and also with us. So we work as both a software solution partner and as a value-added reseller working directly with customers. So however you want to consume Bizweaver as a tool for you, we can enable you to do that. Now, I just want to kind of step through a couple slides that talk about, where we were, what the pandemic has done, and how e-commerce has kind of come to the forefront from this. So pre-COVID, the Association of SAP's user group sent out a survey to SAP Business One customers, and only 43% of the customers indicated that they've made significant progress in making their business digital. Now, obviously, this was pre-COVID, and this was kind of interesting that it was only 43%. And I thought, that's a little low. But then I did a little bit more research around this, and we noticed that Deloitte was coming in with some digital transformation studies, and that 80% of customers were not taking full advantage of it, digital transformation. 25% said it's not relevant for my business. Most of the use cases were around sales and marketing. 17% of the companies perceived internal cost efficiency benefits. So really they didn't see the value in transforming their business digitally. And surprisingly, 77% of the users surveyed are using digital tools in their personal life. So it wasn't moving over into the SME space. So what that typically looked like was the pursuit for paperless processes. But when we would go in and meet with customers, this is what we were seeing, was a lot of paper, a lot of transposition, rip and read, exporting, emailing, key and email, and all of this was causing a speed bump to get the information into the system of record. So things like available inventory and all of these different things, forecasts, all of that was lagging because we didn't have visibility into information in a real time. So the goal originally on digital transformation was to eliminate paper. So one of the things that I started looking into is, did the pandemic change this? And interestingly enough, the number of companies that are actually seeing themselves as digitally transformed remains the same. But what's really interesting is that half the companies surveyed are very interested in looking into digital transformation. Here at Third Wave, we're seeing this based off of the number of projects and estimates that we're providing surrounding connecting and automating things like e-commerce. And this webinar is a perfect example. This is our largest registration for a webinar ever in our 25 years. So obviously, this digital observer area is certainly at the forefront of what's going on. And this survey actually came back and said that 93% of the companies are more reliant on technology. But this is what we're seeing, is you still have this speed bump. So customers have changed the way that they want to transact. Employees have changed where they want to work from, and companies just hastily implemented digital tools to assist with that shift. So the disparity continues, but the paper's kind of been eliminated. So now the rip and read is from Teams messages, or from a Shopify, or from a Fulfilled by Amazon report, or from Salesforce. And the other big thing that we're seeing in the marketplace right now is supply chain. And a lot of our customers are buying their suppliers, or they're buying their competitors. So there's a big need for the ability to handle intercompany transactions as well. And the good news is that Bizweaver can help you with that as well. So this is kind of where we see kind of the state right now, is that the paper may have been eliminated, but the rip and read and rekey, export, import processes are alive and well. But there was certainly this shift towards a digital technology. So we at Third Wave, we believe in the 4 C's. When I joined Third Wave Business Systems, I looked at what made us unique. And it was really around, as I said in our slide, our passion is technology and our focus is customer success. And I realized that it wasn't just the fact that we are fully competent in, delivering SAP Business One implementations. It was really around the fact that we understood that there was more to the business of processing information and getting everything streamlined and everybody on the same page with the same data at the same time. And we came up with this concept of the 4 C's. The first C obviously being core SAP Business One. The second being connect, so the ability to connect to different platforms. So things like 3PLs, LTLs, CRM systems, e-commerce, EDI, all of those different connections are required. Streamlining the communication between users. So again, eliminating all that paper, letting SAP Business One look for exceptions and communicate that way. And ensuring that all of the processes that we're reviewing and streamlining are in control and meeting, the company's expectations of exactly what's within control. So when we look at a company that's kind of, embrace the 4 C's, the business is effectively mapped to the core system. All other systems are connected and automated. Anyone can communicate, access, update, or process data from anywhere while staying in sync with the core. And all parts of the business are in control with predictable results. So this is what I really think is Third Wave Business Systems' uniqueness around how we approach helping you, the SAP Business One company, get more out of your system. So as we know, today we're talking about e-commerce integration with SAP Business One. These are kind of the main ones that we're seeing out there. Amazon, Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce. Those are kind of the ones that are rising to the forefront. But we also see, Magento, some of these other custom websites that companies are looking to integrate it to as well. And we at Third Wave, when we developed Bizweaver as an integration tool, what we wanted to do is create an environment where data flowed in sync with the physical activities happening and maintaining control over that process. So again, that connect and control. So we also wanted to be able to connect to all different types of platforms. So not just e-commerce, not just CRM. So, and as I mentioned at the beginning, it's e-commerce, CRM, EDI, 3PL, shipping and logistics, travel and expense management. So, all of these are the areas that you're going to see Bizweaver really kind of be able to help you as a business connect and integrate. Today, for my webinar, I'm going to be focused on showing you how we connect and how we work with Shopify. I could have chosen any of the other e-commerce platforms, but I chose Shopify just because their demo site is pretty easy to get set up and to perform a transaction on. So why Bizweaver for an e-commerce integration? Well, Bizweaver has some key advantages over a pure integration project or product. Things like pre-processing, SAP transaction automation, being able to connect to multiple database environments, data validations, and error handling are all built directly into the product. Bizweaver was built with the input of our SAP Business One consultants with the pure intention of making sure that SAP Business One customer leverages all of the SAP technologies available to them. So what we ultimately do is eliminate the risk associated with integration projects to SAP Business One, making the integration transparent, predictable, and eliminating the risk of failure and providing you a low cost of ownership. So that's what Bizweaver does, and it's done through these tool sets, and I'll be demonstrating that today as we go through the presentation. So how do we do this? Well, we use drag and drop workflow technology that's designed to connect to all different types of platforms in order to do your transactions. Now, when we talk about e-commerce integrations, the e-commerce integrations, not all of them are the same. So I call it kind of the integration iceberg, where any kind of integration tool or project is going to be able to kind of handle the integration of items, orders, payment, fulfillment, but many of them aren't going to match your SAP data or your SAP workflows. You're not going to have flexibility to adjust the integration if you get an off-the-shelf product. And a lot of times you're only able to connect to a single connection, or you have to buy a whole bunch of different database connectors in order to connect to all the different sales channels that you might be selling through. So Bizweaver is really built around, as I mentioned, built by SAP consultants for SAP Business One customers. And we really provide flexibility around giving you that low cost of ownership. So when looking at integrations, you spent a lot of time evaluating SAP Business One as the ERP solution for your company. We encourage you to do the same when you're looking at integration tools and projects, because it's looking below the surface. Is where you're going to be able to eliminate a lot of risk around integration projects, and you're going to have transparency around exactly what it is that you're looking to do. So without further ado, I'm going to go into the actual presentation now, and I'm going to show you kind of how all this pulls together. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to close all these web pages that were the GoToWebinar and me trying to get all that to work. And I'm just going to go into the back end of my Shopify website. So this is where I can keep track of my orders. And this is what I'm talking about where you know, currently a lot of our customers are doing like the export, taking that and then rekeying this data. And then when they're adding products into the system, you're importing them in. So the ability to integrate all this together into a single platform, hopefully by the end of today's presentation, you see how all that can work for your business. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take off my back office web administrator hat, and I'm going to go into the Shopify store here, and I'm in as a customer and I'm going to buy an item. So this is where I'm simply just going to pick up an item here, and I'm going to add it to my cart, and I'm going to check out. So you know, none of this is a big surprise to anybody nowadays, because we've all ordered things on e-commerce and probably on a Shopify site. So here it's just going out, it's doing all the things that your e-commerce platform would do for you. And this is where now we can continue to our payment. You can write down my credit card number because this is a demo credit card. So we're just going to call this test credit card and put an expiry date here. And I'm just going to place this order now. So on the e-commerce side of things, you know, all this is fairly straightforward. You know, the customer experience side of things, you know, Shopify is going to deal with most of that for you. So, you know, the automation of things like the email alert, all of those types of things are going to happen. Over here on the Shopify side of things, if we refresh this page, we're going to have an order here that's unfulfilled now. So you can see that that's come in. You know, Shopify will have sent me an email saying that my order is there. And then what I'm going to do now is, instead of me exporting that information or opening up this order, you know, opening up this order and rekeying this information into SAP, I'm going to show you how within SAP Business One using Bizweaver, we can get this order into the system. So to start with, I'm going to go into my environment, and this is where I have my Bizweaver platform installed. And right now you can see I have all of my different types of Bizweaver workflows exposed over here, and I'm focused right now on our Shopify area. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get those Shopify orders pulled down. We're going to look for duplicate orders. We're going to validate a bunch of information. So this is where this workflow, as I mentioned, this is all drag and drop. And the nice thing about this e-commerce solution that you're seeing is that these workflows are all part of our standard configuration that gives us a really good starting point to implement for you. And all we would have to do is export these and then import them into your environment to have them running. So essentially what happens is Bizweaver just goes out and it connects to Shopify. So you can see I have all different types of connections that are established, but we're connecting to Shopify and we're just going out and we're calling their API to get data. And once we call that data, one of the unique things about Bizweaver is the ability to go and read that data set. So this is where we can actually go and see the data that we're getting back, and we can do things with this. And this is where I was talking about the pre-processing. So we have visibility to the data, and now what we can do is we can loop, we can look for duplicates, we can make some decisions around things, and then we can start to write data set in. So I'm just going to run this workflow. This is just going to take a second, because what it's going to do is it's just going out, calling the data, and writing it into the table. And as you saw here, it says that it's going to add it, and then it's going to call a second workflow here. And that workflow is to get the orders into SAP. And this is where when I was talking about in the slides, we've made it really easy to do the integration, because over here on the left, we have all of the objects that we've called down from Shopify. So we have all of these objects, and all we do is we drag and drop them. And the nice thing is that we've given you this starting point. So you can see here that we have the document, we have the document line, and then we also have the addresses that we're writing in. We're calling the SAP DI API, the DI server, or the service layer when we're calling this, and then we're doing an add. So we're leveraging all of the SAP technology. So it's very simple for us to go in and drag and drop and configure the connections. And then behind the scenes, what will happen is we just simply run this. And it's going out to Shopify, and as it goes out to Shopify, it's getting that order number. So order number 1125, and it's going to write that into SAP. So if we go over into SAP Business One here, you can see that my last order was 1124. So the integration's completed its task. One of the things that you're seeing me do is click run, but you can see here that we can schedule these. The other thing that we can do is we can have these triggered. So we can either have these workflows on a schedule, that they go out and run every so often, or we can have them based off of a trigger when something happens to go out and execute that. So if I go to my last record here now, you can see here that we'll have order 1125 in SAP Business One. And then what we can do is we can simply copy this to this was my delivery, sorry. Let's just make this nice and big for us here. So let's go into our sales order here and go to our most recent record here. And you can see there's our order 1125 for this item. And I'm going to copy this to a delivery here. And I'm just going to, you could use SAP Business One, pick and pack. We could use our shipping integration, Ship Easy solution. And here I'm just going to put in, how we shipped it. So all this is your standard SAP Business One transactions. I'm going to add this. And now this is where that two-way integration becomes really important, because once that's happened, I can simply just run this workflow that goes out and tells Shopify that order has been fulfilled. And then that's going to go out and write the delivery information into Shopify, and you can see here that it sent me an email already saying that order's on the way. And if we go into the Shopify back office side of things and refresh our browser, you can see here that order is now fulfilled. So we've eliminated the need to kind of be logged into your e-commerce platforms and monitoring them by being able to connect and integrate to them. So one of the things that I had up there at the beginning of this presentation is we're seeing a lot of clients that will have multiple channels that they're selling through. So they might be using Shopify for a microsite. They might be using Magento for their main site. They might be using BigCommerce for their B2B. So the ability for us to be able to connect to all of those different types of environments and have the exact same workflow technology, whether it's, BigCommerce, as I just mentioned, or Shopify or WooCommerce. We've done all of the different types of website integrations. And then maybe for like FBA, for Fulfilled by Amazon, you get your flat file and we need to be able to write in the sales to keep your inventory. We can do those types of things. Maybe you're using ShipStation or Shipwell along with a 3PL to do your fulfillments. We can send them the orders as well. Maybe you have intercompany where you get this order in, but then you need to place a purchase order immediately to a sister company. So once as you create the order, we can send the purchase order over to the sister company, and that sister company will then drop ship. So all of these e-commerce strategies and sales channels are really kind of leveraged and automated using Bizweaver, and that's one of the main unique things about the Bizweaver platform is it's not just for a Shopify integration. It's not just for an EDI solution. What we're giving you is a single platform that allows you to integrate to all different types of channels, tools, and partners. And that is ultimately the uniqueness around it. So from an e-commerce standpoint, if you're doing B2B and maybe Shopify, you're trying to see if Shopify will work for you and you're struggling with seeing how these e-commerce solutions work for you from a B2B standpoint, we do have some tools and products available to help you with evaluating a B2B solution. We have a Versago customer portal solution, and we also have an e-commerce solution that allows you to rapidly deploy and integrate into B2B solutions. Today we focused around the Shopify integration and just showing you how easy it is for us to integrate and automate. But if you're looking to do any of this and you have questions, as you saw at the beginning of my presentation, you're not alone on this. Like more than half of companies out there right now are looking for integration tools and how to make their company more digitally transformed. And reach out to us, send me an email, let me know what you're struggling with, and we can set up some one-on-one meetings and we can talk about how to better leverage your environments and your sales channels and making sure that we're putting the right technologies in front of you. And this is a quote from one of our customers that kind of talks about that. Bizweaver will grow with us as the marketplace and platforms demand a dynamic connection to SAP Business One. So, as things are changing, maybe you're on Shopify today and tomorrow you want to put it onto WooCommerce. All we have to do is change the connections. It's not like you're reinvesting in a whole new integration. So that's one of the things that our customers are really seeing. And the other thing is that SAP's seeing this, and they've awarded us the top innovation partner because of it, because they see how our passion for technology and our focus around our customer success really kind of shines through. And all of that is really kind of tied down to us really focusing on the 4 C's and making sure that we're helping you with your growth strategies. So that concludes my presentation today, and I apologize for the technical delay that we had today, and I do thank everybody that stayed on as we dealt through that. I'm just gonna pause now, and if you have any questions, please just type them into the chat, and we can address them there. We will be sending a recording out to everybody that registered and attended this session today, and we'll include some links as well into some different areas, and you'll have our email address to get a hold of us.